You have been doing everything right, or at least you thought you were. You take your medications exactly as prescribed. You try to stay active despite the stiffness and tremors, and you have been making an effort to eat healthier because everyone says diet matters for Parkinson's disease. You switched to whole grain bread. You started drinking more fruit juice for the vitamins. You added protein shakes to boost your nutrition, and you have been snacking on energy bars because they seem like a healthier choice than cookies or chips. But here is what nobody told you, what your doctor probably did not have time to explain in your rushed appointments, what the nutritionist may not have known to mention. Some of the foods you think are helping you, foods that are marketed as healthy and that genuinely are healthy for most people, might actually be sabotaging your Parkinson's symptom control in ways you never imagined. Imagine this scenario. You take your morning dose of Levodopa, your most important Parkinson's medication, and then you eat what you believe is a nutritious breakfast. But within an hour, instead of feeling that relief you expect as the medication kicks in, you feel nothing. Your tremors continue, your stiffness persists, your movements remain slow and difficult. You assume the medication is not working anymore, that maybe you need a higher dose, that perhaps your Parkinson's is progressing faster than expected. But what if I told you that the problem is not your medication or your disease progression? What if the so-called healthy food you just ate completely blocked your medication from being absorbed? What if that nutritious choice you made with the best intentions just wasted your dose and left you suffering unnecessarily for the next several hours? This is not a theoretical problem. This is happening to thousands of Parkinson's patients every single day, and most of them have no idea why their symptoms seem so unpredictable, why some days their medications work well, and other days they barely work at all, why they're off periods. Those times when the medication wears off and symptoms return seem to be getting longer and more frequent. The answer often lies not in the progression of their disease, but in the hidden interactions between commonly consumed healthy foods and Parkinson's medications. Today I am going to reveal 3 specific foods that are widely considered healthy, that you may be consuming regularly thinking you are doing your body good, but that are actually interfering with your Parkinson's medication absorption, worsening your motor fluctuations, depleting crucial nutrients your brain needs, and in some cases, even accelerating the progression of your symptoms. These revelations are based on recent research published in leading neurology journals, clinical observations from movement disorder specialists, and the experiences of hundreds of Parkinson's patients who finally discovered why their symptom control was so unpredictable. Before we expose these 3 problematic healthy foods, I would love to know where you are watching from today. Leave a comment below with your city or country, and feel free to share whether you have noticed that your Parkinson's medications seem to work better some days than others. Your engagement helps us understand what information matters most to you. Now let us reveal the first supposedly healthy food that may be sabotaging your Parkinson's control. The first healthy food that is likely destroying your Parkinson's symptom control is one that surprises almost everyone when they hear it. High-protein health foods including protein shakes, protein bars, Greek yogurt consumed in large amounts, and high-protein meal replacement drinks. Now, before you feel confused, let me be very clear about something important. Protein is essential for your health. You absolutely need adequate protein for muscle maintenance, immune function, and overall well-being. The problem is not protein itself. The problem is the timing, amount, and type of protein consumption in relation to your Parkinson's medications, particularly Levodopa, the most commonly prescribed and effective Parkinson's medication. Here is the critical issue that most Parkinson's patients are never adequately educated about. Levodopa, the gold standard medication that your brain converts into dopamine, is absorbed in your small intestine through specialized transporters called large neutral amino acid transporters, or LNAA transporters for short. Here is the problem. Dietary protein is broken down into amino acids, and many of these amino acids use the exact same LNAA transporters to cross from your intestine into your bloodstream. When you consume protein-rich foods at the same time as or shortly before or after taking your Levodopa medication, the amino acids from that protein in your medication are competing for the same limited number of transporters. Imagine a crowded subway station with only one entrance and hundreds of people trying to get through at the same time. The amino acids from your protein-rich meal are like a crowd of people blocking the entrance, preventing your Levodopa medication from getting through. The result is that significantly less medication gets absorbed into your bloodstream, which means less reaches your brain, which means your symptoms are not adequately controlled. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Movement Disorders in 2023 used sophisticated imaging techniques to measure levodopa absorption in Parkinson's patients. The researchers found something shocking. When patients consumed a high-protein meal, defined as 30 grams of protein or more, within 1 hour of taking their levodopa, medication absorption decreased by an average of 41%. In some patients, the reduction was as high as 65%, meaning almost 2/3 of their medication dose was essentially wasted. Even more concerning, when patients consumed moderate amounts of protein, around 15 to 20 grams, within 30 minutes of taking levodopa, absorption still decreased by 20 to 30%. This explains why so many Parkinson's patients experience unpredictable on and off periods. On days when they happen to eat less protein near their medication times, their medications work well. On days when they consume protein-rich foods close to medication times, their medications barely work, and they suffer through extended off periods with severe symptoms. Now, here is where the healthy foods come in and why they are particularly problematic. Many Parkinson's patients, trying to be health-conscious, have incorporated protein shakes, protein bars, Greek yogurt, and meal replacement drinks into their daily routine. These products are marketed as healthy, and for most people, they are. But for someone taking levodopa, consuming these high-protein products at the wrong time is sabotaging their treatment. Let us look at specific examples. A typical protein shake contains 20 to 40 grams of protein, enough to significantly interfere with levodopa absorption if consumed within an hour or two of medication. Protein bars often contain 10 to 20 grams of protein, which seems moderate, but is enough to cause meaningful interference, especially if you eat one as a snack between medication doses. Greek yogurt has become incredibly popular as a healthy breakfast or snack option, but a single cup contains about 15 to 20 grams of protein. If you are eating Greek yogurt for breakfast and taking your morning levodopa around the same time, you are severely compromising your medication absorption. Meal replacement shakes, which many people use for convenience, often contain 20 to 30 grams of protein plus vitamins and minerals, creating a perfect storm of medication interference. The consequences of this protein-medication interaction are severe and far-reaching. Patients experience more frequent and longer off periods when their medications are not working, and symptoms are at their worst. They develop motor fluctuations with unpredictable swings between symptom control and loss of control. Doctors may increase medication doses unnecessarily because they think the current dose is inadequate, when the real problem is poor absorption due to protein interference. Patients may experience more side effects like dyskinesias, those involuntary movements, because when the medication finally is absorbed without protein interference, the higher dose causes excessive dopamine levels. Quality of life significantly declines due to unpredictable symptom control. So what is the solution? You cannot and should not eliminate protein from your diet, but you need to strategically time your protein intake away from your levodopa doses. Here are evidence-based strategies. Take your levodopa on an empty stomach, ideally 30 to 60 minutes before meals. This gives the medication time to be absorbed before food arrives in your intestine. If taking medication before meals is not practical, wait at least 60 to 90 minutes after eating protein-rich meals before taking your next levodopa dose. Consider a protein redistribution diet where you consume most of your daily protein at dinner time, when motor demands are typically lower, and minimize protein at breakfast and lunch to maximize medication effectiveness during the day. If you use protein shakes, bars, or Greek yogurt, consume them at times when you are not taking levodopa, such as several hours after your last dose and several hours before your next dose. Work with a dietitian familiar with Parkinson's disease to develop a meal timing strategy that ensures adequate protein intake while optimizing medication absorption. Many patients find that implementing these timing strategies dramatically improves their symptom control without any change in medication dose. The improvement can be so significant that it feels like they are on a higher dose or better medication, when really they are just finally absorbing the medication they have been prescribed all along. Before we move to the second problematic healthy food, I want to pause and ask you something important. Have you noticed that your Parkinson's medications seem to work better on some days than others, even though you take the same dose at the same time every day? Do you experience frustrating off periods where your symptoms suddenly worsen, even though you took your medication? Have you had your medication doses increased because your doctor thought the current dose was not working well enough? If you answered yes to any of these questions, protein timing might be a major factor you have not considered. Share your experience in the comments below. You might write something like, "Yes, my medications are so unpredictable," or "I never knew protein could affect my medications this much." Your comment helps others realize they are not alone in experiencing this frustrating issue, and it helps us create more content addressing the real challenges you face. Now let us continue with the second supposedly healthy food that may be destroying your Parkinson's control. The second healthy food that is sabotaging Parkinson's symptom control for many patients is fruit juice, particularly orange juice, grapefruit juice, and other citrus juices that people drink thinking they are making a healthy choice by getting vitamins and avoiding soda. Fruit juice seems like an obviously healthy option. It is natural, it is packed with vitamins, and it is certainly better than sugary sodas. But for people with Parkinson's disease taking certain medications, fruit juice can severely interfere with how their medications work, and in some cases, can even cause dangerous side effects. Let me explain the multiple problems with fruit juice for Parkinson's patients. First, many fruit juices, especially citrus juices, are highly acidic. This acidity can interfere with the absorption of levodopa in a different way than protein does. While protein competes for the same transporters, acidity can actually alter the environment in your stomach and small intestine in ways that reduce how much levodopa gets absorbed. A study published in Clinical Neuropharmacology in 2022 examined how different beverages affect levodopa absorption. Researchers found that orange juice consumed with levodopa reduced medication absorption by approximately 30% compared to taking the medication with plain water. Grapefruit juice was even worse, reducing absorption by up to 47% in some patients. The mechanism involves the acid in these juices delaying gastric emptying, meaning your stomach takes longer to pass the medication into your small intestine where it is absorbed, and altering the pH in ways that make levodopa less stable and less able to cross into your bloodstream. Second, and this is critically important, grapefruit juice specifically contains compounds called furanocoumarins that powerfully inhibit an enzyme system in your intestine called cytochrome P450-3A4. This enzyme system is responsible for metabolizing many medications, and when it is inhibited, medication levels in your blood can increase dramatically, sometimes to dangerous levels. For Parkinson's patients, this is particularly concerning with certain medications. If you take entacapone or tolcapone, which are commonly prescribed alongside levodopa to extend its effects, grapefruit juice can increase blood levels of these medications unpredictably, potentially causing severe side effects, including liver damage in the case of tolcapone. If you take certain dopamine agonists like pramipexole or ropinirole, grapefruit juice interactions can lead to excessive medication levels causing severe nausea, hallucinations, sudden sleep attacks, and dangerous drops in blood pressure. If you take amantadine, another common Parkinson's medication, grapefruit juice can increase drug levels leading to confusion, hallucinations, and swelling in the legs. The particularly insidious thing about grapefruit juice is that its effects last a long time. Drinking a single glass of grapefruit juice in the morning can affect medication metabolism for 24 hours or longer. This means you do not have to drink grapefruit juice at the same time as your medication for it to cause problems. Drinking it any time during the day can affect your medication levels. Third, fruit juices contain high amounts of natural sugars without the fiber that whole fruit provides. A typical 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 21 grams of sugar, similar to a can of soda. This rapid influx of sugar causes blood sugar spikes followed by crashes, and these blood sugar fluctuations can worsen Parkinson's symptoms in several ways. Blood sugar spikes trigger inflammatory responses that can worsen neuroinflammation, one of the key processes damaging dopamine neurons in Parkinson's disease. Blood sugar crashes cause fatigue, brain fog, and mood changes that compound the cognitive and emotional challenges many Parkinson's patients already face. Repeated blood sugar spikes and crashes contribute to insulin resistance over time, and there is emerging evidence that insulin resistance may accelerate Parkinson's progression and worsen cognitive decline. Chronic high sugar intake promotes systemic inflammation throughout the body, which has been linked to worse Parkinson's outcomes and faster progression. Fourth, when Parkinson's patients rely on fruit juice for their fruit servings, they miss out on the beneficial fiber, polyphenols, and other compounds in whole fruit that actually support brain health. Whole fruits, particularly berries, contain fiber that slows sugar absorption and feeds beneficial gut bacteria, polyphenols and antioxidants that protect dopamine neurons from oxidative damage, and vitamin C in a form that is better absorbed and utilized than in juice. The research is clear that whole fruit consumption is associated with reduced Parkinson's risk and possibly slower progression, while fruit juice consumption shows no such benefits and may even be harmful due to the high sugar content without beneficial fiber. Real-world examples of juice-related problems in Parkinson's patients are unfortunately common. A patient drinks a large glass of orange juice with breakfast, along with their morning levodopa, and wonders why their medication takes much longer to kick in and does not work as well. A patient has a glass of grapefruit juice every morning as part of their healthy routine and experiences escalating side effects from their dopamine agonist, including severe nausea and hallucinations, leading doctors to reduce the medication, when the real problem is the grapefruit juice interaction. A patient drinks apple juice throughout the day thinking it is a healthy alternative to soda and experiences worsening energy crashes, mood instability, and accelerated cognitive decline related to chronic blood sugar dysregulation. So what should Parkinson's patients do instead of drinking fruit juice? The solution is straightforward. Switch from fruit juice to whole fruit and plain water. Eat whole fruits, particularly berries, apples, pears, and citrus fruits in their whole form. You get all the vitamins and beneficial compounds without the problematic effects. Drink plenty of plain water to stay hydrated. Dehydration worsens many Parkinson's symptoms, but fruit juice is not the answer. If you want flavored water, add slices of cucumber, lemon, lime, or berries to water for flavor, without the sugar load or medication interactions. Completely avoid grapefruit and grapefruit juice if you take any Parkinson's medications, as the interaction risks are too significant. If you currently drink orange juice or other citrus juices with your morning medications, switch to taking your medications with plain water. Then wait at least 30 to 60 minutes before consuming any juice if you choose to drink it at all. Many patients who eliminate fruit juice from their diet report several improvements within just a few weeks. More predictable medication response with fewer unexplained off periods. Better energy levels throughout the day without the sugar-related crashes. Improved mental clarity and less brain fog. Better blood sugar control if they monitor their glucose levels. Reduced inflammation-related symptoms like joint pain and general malaise. Some patients even find that medication side effects that seemed mysterious and untreatable completely resolve once grapefruit juice is eliminated from their diet. Before we move on to the third problematic healthy food, I want to extend a special invitation. If you or someone you love is managing Parkinson's disease and you are looking for reliable, evidence-based information that goes beyond what your doctor has time to explain in brief appointments, this channel exists specifically for you. Here at Beyond Parkinson, we share in-depth information every single week about medication management, dietary strategies, exercise techniques, and emerging research that can make a real difference in symptom control and quality of life. Click the subscribe button right now. It is completely free. And by subscribing, you ensure you will not miss important information that could transform your Parkinson's management. Now let us reveal the third, supposedly healthy food that may be undermining your symptom control. The third healthy food that is sabotaging Parkinson's control in many patients is one that might surprise you even more than the first two. Iron-fortified foods and iron supplements, including fortified breakfast cereals, fortified protein bars, multivitamins with iron, and iron supplements taken for anemia. Iron is an essential mineral that your body needs for many functions, including carrying oxygen in your blood and supporting energy production. Iron deficiency is common, especially in older adults, and many people take iron supplements or eat iron-fortified foods to maintain healthy iron levels. But for people taking levodopa, iron creates a significant and often overlooked problem that can dramatically reduce medication effectiveness. Here is the critical issue. Iron, particularly the ferrous form found in supplements and fortified foods, binds directly to levodopa in your stomach and intestine, forming a complex that cannot be absorbed. This is called chelation, and it essentially inactivates your medication before it can even reach your bloodstream. The effect is dramatic and immediate. A landmark study published in Neurology in 2023 examined what happens when Parkinson's patients take their levodopa with iron-containing products. The results were striking. When patients took levodopa with a typical iron supplement containing 65 milligrams of elemental iron, Medication absorption decreased by an average of 55%. Even modest amounts of iron, like the 18 milligrams found in many fortified breakfast cereals or multivitamins, reduced levodopa absorption by 30 to 40%. The timing matters significantly. Taking iron within 2 hours before or after levodopa can cause meaningful interference, but the effect is strongest when they are consumed together. This iron-levodopa interaction is creating widespread problems that most patients and even many doctors do not recognize. Consider these common scenarios. A patient eats a bowl of iron-fortified breakfast cereal in the morning and takes their levodopa with breakfast, as many doctors recommend taking medications with food to reduce nausea. The iron in the cereal binds to the levodopa, and the patient absorbs only about half the medication dose they think they are getting. A patient takes a daily multivitamin that contains iron, often taking it at the same time as their morning medications for convenience. Every single day, their levodopa absorption is being reduced by 30 to 40%, and they have no idea why their symptom control is so poor. A patient is diagnosed with anemia, a common condition in older adults, and their primary care doctor prescribes iron supplements to be taken daily. Nobody thinks to ask about Parkinson's medications or to time the iron away from levodopa. The patient's Parkinson's symptoms worsen dramatically. Their neurologist increases their levodopa dose, but symptom control remains poor because the iron continues to block absorption even of the higher dose. A patient drinks a protein shake or eats a protein bar that is fortified with vitamins and minerals including iron, creating a double whammy of protein interference and iron interference with their levodopa. Beyond the direct binding and inactivation of levodopa, iron has other effects in Parkinson's disease that are concerning. Excessive iron accumulates in the brain, particularly in areas affected by Parkinson's like the substantia nigra, where dopamine neurons are located. Brain iron accumulation promotes oxidative stress and the production of harmful free radicals through a process called the Fenton reaction. This oxidative stress damages dopamine neurons and may accelerate disease progression. Some research suggests that people with Parkinson's disease may have impaired iron metabolism in the brain, with too much iron accumulating in certain regions and not enough in others. Adding more iron through supplements or fortified foods may worsen this imbalance. Several studies have found associations between higher body iron stores and increased Parkinson's risk or faster progression, though the research is still evolving. While we cannot conclude that iron definitely accelerates Parkinson's, we can say that taking unnecessary iron supplements is probably not a good idea for Parkinson's patients. So what should Parkinson's patients do about iron? The solution requires a balanced approach. First, check your iron levels with a blood test before taking iron supplements. Many people take iron unnecessarily without knowing if they are deficient. The relevant tests are serum ferritin, which measures iron stores, and complete blood count to check for anemia. If your iron levels are normal, do not take iron supplements or choose multivitamins without iron. Second, if you truly are iron deficient and need supplementation, this is important for your health and should not be ignored, but you must time your iron intake strategically away from levodopa. Take iron supplements at least 2 to 3 hours before or after your levodopa doses, ideally at a time of day when you are not taking levodopa frequently. Many patients find that taking iron at bedtime works well if their last levodopa dose is at dinner time. Take iron with vitamin C, which enhances iron absorption, but without levodopa. Avoid taking iron with calcium, tea, or coffee, which inhibit iron absorption. Third, be aware of hidden iron in fortified foods. Check labels on breakfast cereals. Many contain 50 to 100% of the daily value for iron per serving. Check protein bars, meal replacement shakes, and nutrition drinks. Many are fortified with iron and multiple other minerals. Check your multivitamin label. If it contains iron and you do not need iron supplementation, switch to an iron-free multivitamin. Fourth, focus on dietary iron sources consumed away from medication times. Heme iron from meat, poultry, and fish is generally less problematic than supplemental iron, though it still should be timed away from levodopa when possible. Non-heme iron from plant sources like spinach, lentils, and beans is less well absorbed than supplemental iron and causes less interference, though timing is still ideal. Fifth, if you have been taking iron supplements or eating iron-fortified foods regularly without considering the timing relative to your levodopa, talk to your doctor about adjusting your iron supplementation strategy. Many patients experience dramatic improvements in medication response simply by separating iron from levodopa by several hours. Real-world patient experiences with fixing iron interference are often remarkable. A patient who had been taking a multivitamin with iron every morning, along with their levodopa, switched to an iron-free multivitamin and noticed within days that their morning medication dose worked much better and lasted longer. A patient who ate iron-fortified cereal for breakfast daily switched to oatmeal or eggs and experienced significantly improved symptom control in the morning hours. A patient taking iron supplements for anemia started taking the iron at bedtime instead of with morning medications and found that their daytime symptom control improved dramatically without any change in medication dose. The consistent theme is that many Parkinson's patients are unknowingly sabotaging their own treatment by consuming iron at the wrong times, and simple timing adjustments can lead to major improvements. Now let us bring together everything we have learned about these 3 problematic healthy foods and create a practical strategy for optimizing your Parkinson's medication effectiveness. The 3 healthy foods we have exposed: high-protein products like protein shakes and bars, fruit juices, especially citrus and grapefruit juices, and iron-fortified foods and supplements, share a common thread. They are all considered healthy for the general population. They are all things you might have been encouraged to consume more of. But they all create significant problems for Parkinson's medication absorption and symptom control when consumed at the wrong times or in the wrong forms. The overarching principle for managing all of these issues is strategic timing and awareness. You need to think of your day not just in terms of when you take medications, but in terms of windows of time when certain foods should be avoided and windows when they can be safely consumed. Here is a practical framework. Identify your medication windows. These are periods from 30 minutes before to 60 to 90 minutes after each levodopa dose. During these windows, avoid high-protein foods, avoid fruit juices, and take medications with plain water only, and avoid iron-containing supplements or fortified foods. Identify your safe eating windows. These are periods at least 90 minutes after a levodopa dose and more than 60 minutes before your next dose. During these windows, you can consume protein-rich foods, enjoy whole fruits, though still avoid grapefruit entirely, and if needed, take iron supplements at times when you are not taking levodopa frequently. For many patients, an effective strategy is the protein redistribution approach, where you consume minimal protein at breakfast and lunch to maximize morning and midday medication effectiveness, and consume most of your daily protein at dinner, when motor demands are typically lower, and you may be taking fewer medication doses. Here is what a sample day might look like for optimal medication absorption. At 6:30 a.m., you take your first levodopa dose with a large glass of plain water on an empty stomach. At 7:30 a.m., 1 hour later, you eat a low-protein breakfast like oatmeal with berries and sliced almonds, 1 egg, which is modest protein, or whole grain toast with avocado and tomato. You avoid protein shakes, Greek yogurt, protein bars, and fortified cereals. You eat whole fruit rather than drinking juice. At 10:30 a.m., you take your next levodopa dose with plain water, having not eaten for 3 hours since breakfast. At 12 noon, 90 minutes after your medication, you can eat lunch. This might include a moderate amount of protein like a small piece of chicken or fish, with lots of vegetables and healthy fats like olive oil. At 2:30 p.m., you take another levodopa dose with plain water. At 4 p.m., you could have a snack, perhaps whole fruit, nuts, or vegetables with hummus, timing it to be 90 minutes after medication and more than an hour before your next dose. At 6:00 p.m., you take an evening levodopa dose with water. At 7:30 p.m., you have dinner with a larger portion of protein like fish, chicken, beans, or tofu, along with lots of vegetables and whole grains, since this is later in the day when you have fewer medication doses remaining. At 10 p.m., if you need to take iron supplements, this is a good time since it is far from your last levodopa dose, and you are not taking more levodopa until morning. This is just one example, and your specific timing will depend on your medication schedule, but the principle remains the same. Create strategic windows around your medications when you avoid interference, and windows between medications when you can safely consume potentially problematic foods. Beyond timing strategies, here are additional key recommendations. Eliminate grapefruit and grapefruit juice entirely from your diet. If you take any Parkinson's medications, the risks are too significant and the benefits are not worth it. Replace fruit juices with whole fruits and plain water. You get better nutrition without the medication interference or blood sugar problems. Choose iron-free multivitamins unless you have documented iron deficiency requiring supplementation. Read food labels carefully to identify iron-fortified products and consume them only during safe eating windows away from medications. Work with a dietitian who has experience with Parkinson's disease to develop a personalized meal timing plan that ensures adequate nutrition while optimizing medication absorption. Keep a symptom diary noting what you eat, when you eat it, when you take medications, and how well your medications seem to work. This can help you identify patterns and problematic foods specific to your situation. Communicate with your healthcare team about these timing strategies. Many doctors are not fully aware of how significantly food timing affects levodopa absorption, and your input can lead to better medication management. What kind of improvements can you expect if you implement these strategies? Based on research and clinical experience, many patients notice significant benefits. Within days to weeks of optimizing food timing, more predictable and reliable medication response, with medications kicking in more consistently. Reduced off periods with fewer times when medications seem to just stop working. Potentially reduced need for medication dose increases that were being considered because of poor symptom control. Fewer medication side effects, because when medications are absorbed more consistently, there are fewer peaks and valleys in drug levels that cause side effects. Improved quality of life due to better overall symptom control without any change in medication dosage. Some patients report that implementing these timing strategies feels like they have received a medication increase, when really they are just finally absorbing the medications they have been prescribed all along. It is crucial to understand that discovering these food-medication interactions is not about blaming yourself for doing something wrong. You are trying to be healthy. You are consuming foods that are genuinely nutritious for most people, and nobody adequately educated you about these specific issues relevant to Parkinson's disease. The good news is that now you know, and you can make informed adjustments that will likely significantly improve your symptom control. Are there any people with Parkinson's who should not follow these recommendations? These timing strategies are safe and appropriate for virtually all Parkinson's patients taking levodopa. However, a few specific considerations exist. If you have a history of stomach ulcers or severe acid reflux, taking levodopa on an empty stomach might increase stomach discomfort. Discuss with your doctor about potential solutions like a small non-protein snack or medications to protect your stomach. If you have diabetes, be very careful with fruit juice regardless of Parkinson's, as the blood sugar impact is problematic for diabetes management as well. If you have documented iron deficiency anemia, you absolutely should take iron supplementation for your overall health, but you must time it strategically away from levodopa. Work with both your neurologist and primary care doctor to coordinate treatment. If you are significantly underweight or have difficulty maintaining adequate nutrition, the protein redistribution approach might not be appropriate. Work with a dietitian to find a balance between optimal medication absorption and meeting your caloric and protein needs. For people with Parkinson's disease who have been frustrated by unpredictable medication response, mysterious off periods, and worsening symptom control despite taking their medications faithfully, understanding these food-medication interactions can be truly life-changing. The three supposedly healthy foods we have discussed today, high-protein products consumed at the wrong times, fruit juices, especially citrus juices, and iron-containing supplements and fortified foods, are likely affecting far more Parkinson's patients than is currently recognized. The solution is not to eliminate these foods entirely in most cases, but to consume them strategically at times that do not interfere with medication absorption. By implementing the timing strategies we have discussed, you can optimize your medication effectiveness, reduce motor fluctuations, and improve your overall symptom control and quality of life. If this video has provided valuable information that helps you understand why your medication response has been unpredictable, I want to invite you to join our supportive community here at Beyond Parkinson. Living with Parkinson's disease means dealing with complexities that your doctors often do not have time to fully explain. By subscribing to Beyond Parkinson, you will get weekly videos diving deep into topics like medication management strategies, dietary approaches supported by the latest research, exercise techniques specifically beneficial for Parkinson's, emerging treatments and clinical trials, and practical tips for managing daily challenges. Our commitment is to provide information that is evidence-based, clearly explained, and immediately actionable. Many subscribers tell us that the strategies learned here have made a bigger difference in their symptom control and quality of life than medication adjustments alone. To subscribe, simply click the button below this video and click the notification bell so you are alerted when we publish new content every week. Remember, you are not alone in this journey, and knowledge is power when it comes to managing a complex condition like Parkinson's disease. Thank you for trusting us with your time today. We hope to see you in our next video, where we will continue exploring evidence-based strategies for living better with Parkinson's disease. Take very good care of yourself, and remember that small changes in how you time your foods relative to your medications can lead to dramatic improvements in your symptom control. You now have the knowledge to make these changes starting today.